The station called Rusthaven floated in the darkness of space like a metal graveyard. Broken ships from 100 different worlds hung in its docking bays. Some were missing engines. Others had holes in their sides. All of them were waiting for someone desperate enough to buy them. Sun was exactly that desperate. He stood at the viewing window of the station's main hall, looking at the rows of damaged vessels. His reflection stared back at him, a tired man of 34 with dark circles under his eyes and oil stains on his jacket. 3 weeks ago, pirates had taken everything from him. His ship, his cargo, and nearly his life. "Stop looking so sad," said a voice behind him. "It makes the sellers think we have no money." Park walked up beside him. She was 5 years younger than Sun, with short black hair and sharp eyes that noticed everything. She had been his partner for 2 years now, and she was the only reason he was still alive after the pirate attack. "We have no money," Sun reminded her. "They don't need to know that." A tall figure approached them. Counselor was an insect-like alien with 4 arms and a hard shell covering his body. His compound eyes looked at the 2 humans with clear disgust. "You are the humans who requested to see our inventory," said his voice, clicking and buzzing as he spoke. "I must tell you, we have very little suitable for your kind. Human ships are rare in this sector." "We don't need a human ship," said, "we just need something that flies." Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Everything here flies. The question is whether you can afford it." He led them through the station, past ships of all sizes and shapes. There were sleek cruisers with their distinctive curved wings. There were heavy warships built like armored boxes. There were fast scouts designed for long-range exploration. Every ship showed them cost more money than Sun had ever seen in his life. "Perhaps you should return to your Earth colony," suggested after showing them the 10th ship. "Humans are not meant for the deeper galaxy. You are too fragile, too primitive." Sun felt his jaw tighten, but he said nothing. He had heard these insults many times. Humans had only been traveling between stars for 150 years. Most other species had been doing it for thousands. To them, humans were children playing in a world built by adults. "There must be something in our budget," pressed. "Anything at all." His compound eyes seemed to sparkle with amusement. He turned and pointed one of his 4 arms toward the far corner of the docking bay. There, hidden in shadows and covered in dust, sat a ship that looked like it had been forgotten by time itself. "There is the Silent Drift," said an exploration vessel. "It has been here for 37 years. No one wants it." Sun walked toward the ship. It was medium-sized, about 50 m long. The hull was covered in dents and scratches. Some panels were missing entirely. But as he got closer, something caught his attention. The metal of the hull was strange. It had a slight shimmer that he had never seen in ships before. He had worked as an engineer in the Korean Space Corps for 8 years. He knew spacecraft materials better than most. This metal was different. "Why doesn't anyone want it?" he asked. "The fuel reservoir is contaminated," explained. "The previous owner tried to clean it, but the contamination was too deep. To replace the reservoir would cost more than the ship is worth, so here it sits." Climbed up the external ladder to look through the cockpit window. She wiped away years of dust and peered inside. "The navigation system," she called down. "It's not standard. It's too advanced." Waved a dismissive arm. "Some previous owner probably upgraded it. It doesn't matter. The ship cannot fly without clean fuel, and the fuel cannot be cleaned. Take it if you want it. I will charge you nothing. I would be happy to finally remove this embarrassment from my inventory." Several other alien traders had gathered nearby. They watched the 2 humans with expressions of pity and mockery. One of them, a large one with green scales, laughed loudly. "The cursed ship finally finds its owners," he said. 3 beings have tried to fix it. All 3 gave up and walked away. These humans will do the same in a week. We'll take it. Sun said, climb down from the ladder. She looked at him with surprise but didn't argue. She had learned to trust his instincts over their 2 years together. I seemed delighted. He produced a data pad and quickly processed the transfer of ownership. There were no fees, no inspections, no delays. He simply wanted the ship gone. It is yours, announced. May it bring you all the fortune you deserve. The watching aliens laughed again at the obvious sarcasm. Sung and ignored them. They entered the silent drift through its side airlock, stepping into a ship that smelled of old dust and forgotten years. The interior was surprisingly clean. The previous owners had taken good care of it, even if they couldn't fix the fuel problem. The cockpit had seats for 2 pilots with screens and controls that were covered but functional. The living quarters had beds, a small kitchen and storage space. Went straight to the engineering section. Sun followed her. The fuel reservoir was a large cylindrical chamber in the center of the ship. It was supposed to hold the special liquid that powered engines. But when ran her scanner over it, she stopped moving. This isn't contamination, she said quietly. What do you mean? The reservoir isn't dirty or damaged. It's sealed. Someone welded it shut from the inside on purpose. Sun felt a chill run down his spine. Why would someone do that? Adjusted her scanner trying to see through the metal. Her face went pale. There's something inside, she whispered. Something that's giving off a signal, a pulse like a heartbeat. They stood in silence, listening to the soft hum of the ship around them. In the distance, they could hear the aliens of Rusthaven going about their business, completely unaware of what sat hidden in the worthless ship they had given away. The pulse continued slow and steady. Something inside the silent drift was alive, and it had been waiting for a very long time. For 3 hours, I sang and tried every scanner they had. Nothing could see through the sealed reservoir. The metal was too thick, too dense, made of something their equipment could not penetrate. But the pulse continued, slow, steady, patient. We need better tools, said finally. She sat back against the wall, exhausted. Military-grade scanners, maybe even deep space sensors. We can barely afford food, S reminded her. Military equipment is out of the question. A soft click echoed through the ship. Then another, then a gentle hum that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Jumped to her feet. What was that? The screens in the engineering section flickered to life. Words appeared. Written in Korean. Human presence confirmed. Beginning activation sequence. Please. Stand by. The ship has an AI. Sun said slowly. One that knows Korean. Ships don't have AIS, replied. Their technology doesn't support it. Their computers are too simple. More words appeared on the screen. This vessel is not KVAI. KVI's appearance is a disguise. True nature has been hidden for 40,127 years. I have white long for human pilots. A new voice filled the room. It spoke Korean perfectly with an accent that sounded like old recordings Sung had heard from historical archives. My name is, the voice said. I am the intelligence built into this vessel. Welcome aboard the true silent drift. I have been sleeping for a very long time waiting for someone like you. Grabbed Sun's arm. This is insane. 40,000 years. That's before most galactic civilizations even existed. Correct. Said, I was created by the progenitors, the first great civilization to spread across the stars. They built me. They built this ship and they left specific instructions about who should inherit it. And that's us, Sun asked. Humans. Yes, only humans. The screens changed, showing complex diagrams and data streams. Some recognized some of it as biological information, DNA patterns, evolutionary trees, genetic markers. The progenitors knew they were dying, explained. Civil war destroyed them. But before the end, they sent seed ships to thousands of young worlds. Each seed carried their genetic code, their potential, their hope for the future. Earth was one of those worlds. Shook her head. You're saying humans are descended from these progenitors? Not descended. You are the progenitors reborn. Their DNA merged with early life on your planet over millions of years. That DNA guided human evolution. You carry their legacy in every cell of your body. The sun felt the room spin around him. This was too much, too big, too impossible. The fuel reservoir, he said, forcing himself to focus. What's really inside it? Not fuel, answered. A stasis chamber. Inside sleeps the last true progenitor. The one who volunteered to stay behind and guide their descendants when they finally reached the stars. Someone is alive there after 40,000 years. Progenitor stasis technology is beyond anything the current galaxy possesses. Time does not pass inside the chamber. To the sleeper, only moments have gone by. Sun walked to the sealed reservoir and placed his hand on the cold metal. Somewhere inside, a being from an ancient civilization was waiting for him. We need help, he decided. We need to contact someone. He thought of Commander Lara, a human military officer stationed at an outpost 3 systems away. She had helped him before back when he still served in the Space Corps. She would know what to do. It took 6 hours to reach her through secure communication channels. When her face appeared on screen, she looked tired but alert. Son, I thought you died in that pirate attack. Almost, he said. LRA, I need your advice. We found something. Something big. He explained everything. The ship, the AI, the sealed chamber, the story about the progenitors, listened without interrupting, her expression growing more serious with each word. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Ancient vessels have been found before, she said finally. They discovered one about 200 years ago. They opened it and released a plague that killed 3 billion of their people. They found another one a century later. Inside was a weapon that destroyed 2 of their colony worlds before they could deactivate it. So, you think we should leave it sealed? Said, I think you should turn the ship over to the Galactic Council. Let them study it. Let them take the risk. The voice interrupted them. That would be unwise, Commander. The Council would never allow humans to benefit from progenitor technology. They would claim it for themselves or destroy it out of fear. Who is that? Demanded. The ship's AI explained. AIs can be corrupted. They can lie. They can manipulate. I cannot lie, said calmly. It is not in my programming. The progenitors value truth above all things. They built me to be incapable of deception. You may test this if you wish. Rubbed her eyes. Sunday. This is dangerous. The galaxy has rules about ancient technology. If the Council finds out you're sitting on a progenitor vessel, they'll take it from you. And if they find out about your AI's claims that humans are progenitor descendants, they might decide humanity is a threat. The stasis chamber can only be opened by humans, added. It was designed that way. It requires human DNA, human voice patterns, and human emotional resonance. No other species can access it. Why? Sung asked. Why only us? The main screen changed again. A holographic image appeared in the air before them. A figure that looked almost human but not quite. Its body was too symmetrical, too perfect. Its eyes seemed to shift between colors as it moved. The figure spoke and somehow sang and understood every word even though the language was unlike anything he had ever heard. If you are seeing this, then our children have found their way home. We are the progenitors. We built the stars themselves into roads for others to follow. We shaped life on 1,000 worlds and then we destroyed ourselves as all proud civilizations eventually do. The figure paused, its strange eyes seeming to look directly at the sun. We left you everything, our knowledge, our technology, our hope. It waits for you inside this vessel carried by the last of our kind. Open the chamber. Claim your inheritance. But choose wisely what you do with it, children of Earth. We built empires that reached across galaxies, and in the end it meant nothing. Perhaps you will find a better path for her. The hologram faded. Silence, snorts, filled the ship. The sun she looked back at him. Neither of them had words for what they had just seen. On the screen, Commander stared at them with an expression of shock. Open it, she whispered, forgetting all her previous warnings. Whatever happens, you have to open it. S nodded slowly. It was time to wake the sleeper. The process to open the stasis chamber was not simple. Guided them through each step carefully. First, Sun had to place his hand on a panel that emerged from the sealed metal. The panel pricked his finger and took a drop of blood. Human DNA confirmed, announced, first lock released, then had to speak a series of words. They were ancient words passed down through thousands of generations without anyone knowing their true meaning. Words that appeared in old Korean folk songs and forgotten poems. Voice pattern recognized said second lock released. The final step was strange. Sun had to stand before the chamber and think. Not about anything specific. He just had to feel. The chamber scanned his emotions, his fear, his hope, his curiosity, his determination. Emotional, its surface, tracing patterns that looked like circuitry. A deep hum filled the ship, vibrating through the floors and walls. Slowly, the cylinder opened. Light poured out. Soft golden light that felt warm on the sun's skin. Through the glow, he saw a figure floating in the center of the chamber. It hung suspended in nothingness, surrounded by streams of energy that kept it perfectly still. The figure looked almost human. It had 2 arms, 2 legs, a body similar in shape to his own, but the proportions were slightly different. The limbs were longer. The face was more symmetrical than any human face could be, and the eyes, when they finally opened, were not human at all. They shifted between blue and gold and green. Never settling on a single color. The energy streams faded. The figure drifted down until its feet touched the floor. It stood there looking at the sun and with an expression of wonder. Then it spoke, not with sound. The words appeared directly in Sun's mind, clear and perfect, as if he were thinking them himself. You came, the being said. After all this time, you finally came. Stumbled backward. It's in my head. I can hear it in my head. Do not be afraid, the being said. This is how my people communicated. Thoughts are clearer than words. Less room for misunderstanding. Sun forced himself to stay calm. Who are you? I have had many names, but names lose meaning after so much time. You may call me ancestor. That is what I am to you after all. The ancestor walked slowly around the chamber, looking at the walls, the controls, the screens. Its movements were graceful, almost floating. The ship has kept itself well, it observed. You have done excellent work. Thank you, Creator, the AI replied. Found her voice. You've really been sleeping for 40,000 years. To me, it was only a moment. I closed my eyes while my civilization burned and I opened them to find you standing before me. Time is a strange thing. Why us? Sun asked. Why did your people choose Earth? Why did they create humans? The ancestor was quiet for a moment. Its shifting eyes grew sad. We were dying. Our war had spread to every corner of the galaxy. Billions were already dead. We knew that soon there would be nothing left. So we sent our genetic code to young worlds, hoping that someday, somehow our legacy would continue. But why are humans specifically pressed? Why are we the ones who can open the chamber? Because you survived. We seeded thousands of worlds. Most of the experiments failed. The DNA did not take hold. The life that developed was too different, too alien. But on Earth, our code merged perfectly with the native life. You evolved exactly as we hoped you would. You became us reborn. A loud alarm suddenly filled the ship. His voice cut through the noise. Warning. Multiple vessels approaching. Galactic Council identification confirmed. They are demanding we hold positions. Sun ran to the cockpit. Through the viewing window, he could see a fleet of ships emerging from faster-than-light travel. There were at least 20 of them. Warships, cruisers, and several other designs he didn't recognize. A transmission came through. The face that appeared on screen belonged to a reptilian with dark green scales and cold yellow eyes. A human vessel, this is a high arbiter of the Galactic Council investigation fleet. You have been reported in possession of dangerous ancient technology. You will shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded. How did they find out so fast? Asked. Rust Haven. Sun realized. The counselor must have reported us when we started powering up systems he didn't recognize. The ancestor moved to stand beside them, looking at the fleet with those strange shifting eyes. The council said, so there is a central authority in this age. That is good. Perhaps they will be reasonable. His voice grew harsh. Human, you have 30 seconds to comply. The Sun opened a channel. Arbiter, this is the Sun. We are cooperating, but I need to inform you that we have made contact with a being from inside the vessel, a survivor of the progenitor civilization. There was silence on the other end, then face contorted with what might have been shock. That is impossible. The progenitors are legend, myth. There are no survivors. I am quite real, the ancestor said, its voice somehow transmitting through the communication channel. I have waited 40,000 years to meet the beings who inherited this galaxy. I hope they will be wiser than my own people. So far, you are not inspiring confidence. Scales seem to darken with anger. You will surrender immediately. The council will determine whether this creature is genuine or some human trick. The ancestor turned to S. This one fears you. I can feel it in his thoughts. He fears what you might become if you claim our inheritance. Can you stop them? Asked. Do you have weapons? I have many things, but I did not survive 40,000 years to begin my new life with violence. Let us see if reason can prevail. More transmissions came through. The High Arbiter had contacted other council members. The Sun could hear fragments of their conversation. Worried voices discussing what to do if humans truly were progenitor descendants. One phrase chilled him to the bone. If the humans cannot be controlled, they must be eliminated. The galaxy cannot afford another progenitor empire. Had heard it, too. Her face went pale. They're talking about war, she whispered. With Earth, with all of humanity. The ancestor closed its shifting eyes. So it begins again, it said softly. Fear leading to violence, violence leading to destruction, the same pattern that killed my people. It opened its eyes and looked at Sun with an intensity that made his heart race. But perhaps this time it will be different. You are our children, but you are not us. You have something we lost long ago. I felt it when the chamber scanned your emotions. You have hope. The fleet outside moved closer, weapons charging. Inside the silent drift, Sun stood between an ancient being and a galaxy, ready to destroy everything he knew. The choice about what happened next would rest on his shoulders. The standoff lasted for 6 hours. High Arbiter demanded that Sun surrender the ancestor and the ship. Sun refused. He had contacted the commander and she had contacted her superiors. Now a human battle group was racing toward their location. Admiral Sunho arrived with 12 human warships. They were smaller than the vessels, less powerful than the cruisers, but they positioned themselves between the silent drift and the Council fleet, making their message clear. "This is Admiral of the Korean Space Force," the old commander announced over open channels. "The vessel's silent drift and its passengers are under human protection. Any hostile action will be considered an act of war." Response was immediate. "Admiral, you are interfering with a Galactic Council investigation. Stand down or face consequences. We will not abandon our citizens to your custody, Arbiter. Whatever is on that ship, humans." Found it. Humans have the right to examine it. While the two fleets faced each other, Sun sat with the ancestor in the cargo hold. Was monitoring communications, listening for any sign that shooting might start. "Tell me about the technology," Sun said. "Mention that the ship contains templates, knowledge from your civilization." The ancestor nodded slowly. "This vessel is not just a ship. It is a seed. Inside its structure are the blueprints for everything my people achieved over millions of years. Clean energy that could power worlds without pollution. Medical technology that could cure any disease. Methods to make dead planets green and alive. That would change everything." Some breath. "Every civilization in the galaxy would want it." "Yes. And that is the danger." The ancestor's shifting eyes grew dark. "When my people created these things, we thought they would unite us. Instead, they tore us apart. Every faction wanted control. Every leader believed they alone deserved to decide how the gifts would be used. The fighting began over energy. It spread to medicine. It consumed everything. So, what's the answer? Do we destroy technology? No. Destruction is never the answer. Knowledge cannot be unskilled. Once something is invented, it exists forever." The ancestor placed its hand on the floor, and the metal beneath them began to glow softly. "The question is not whether to share the gifts. The question is how." A voice came over the intercom. "Son, we have a problem. I intercepted a coded transmission from the other Council ships. They're planning something." S rushed to the cockpit, played the decoded message. A voice filled the room. "The humans cannot be allowed to claim this technology. If they are truly progenitor descendants, they will become the dominant power in the galaxy within a generation. We must act now before their battle group can respond. Destroy the silent drift. Kill the ancestor. We will claim the ship exploded due to unstable ancient systems." Admiral's face appeared on a separate screen. He had heard the same transmission. "They're going to attack," the Admiral said grimly. "We're 3-1. I'll do everything I can to protect you, but I need you to prepare to run." "We won't run," Sun said. "Don't be foolish. Earth needs that technology. Earth needs you alive to explain it." A new voice joined the conversation. A merchant ship had slipped into the area during the standoff. Its captain, a wealthy trader named, had his own reasons for being here. "Admiral, perhaps there is another way," said. His insect face was difficult to read, but his voice carried urgency. "I have been listening to all your communications. I know about progenitor technology. I know what it could mean for the galaxy. And you want to share," Admiral guessed. "I want to survive being a fool. If he destroys this ship, the other species will blame it forever. If he starts a war with humans, the economic damage alone will devastate my people. They have no interest in conflict. We have interest in trade, in growth, in advancement." S understood. "You want us to share the technology with everyone. It is the only path that doesn't end in fire." Agreed. The ancestor had followed them to the cockpit. It stood silent, watching the conversation with ancient eyes. "You have a choice," it finally said to Sunday. "The templates will only fully unlock for those I judge worthy, not by species, by character. I must look into your heart and see what you truly want. Then look, Sun said. The ancestor placed its hand on Sun's forehead. The touch was cool, gentle. Suddenly, Sun felt his mind opening like a door. He felt the ancestor moving through his thoughts, his memories, his deepest feelings. It showed his childhood on Earth, playing in the mountains of Korea. It saw his years of training, learning to build and repair spacecraft. It saw his failures and successes, his losses and victories. It saw the moment pirates destroyed his ship and his desperate will to survive. It saw how he treated, how he respected her, how he considered her an equal partner in everything. It saw his fear of the Council fleet outside. And beneath all of that, it saw something that made the ancestor pause. Hope. Not hope for himself. Hope for everyone. A genuine desire for things to be better, for people to be kinder, for the galaxy to be a place of cooperation instead of conflict. The ancestor's hand. Its shifting eyes were wet with something like tears. You are what I hoped for, it whispered. After 40,000 years of waiting, I finally found what I hoped for. What do you want me to do? Sun asked. Tell me your choice. The technology can go to one species, humans, and you would rise to dominate the galaxy within decades. Or it can go to everyone equally, creating chaos in the short term, but perhaps leading to lasting peace. Sun didn't hesitate. Give it to everyone. Looked at him in surprise. Are you sure? This is humanity's chance to be on top for once. Being on top is what destroyed the progenitors. Sun replied. I don't want that for us. I don't want that for anyone. The ancestor smiled. It was a strange expression on its too perfect face, but it was genuine. Then it will be done. Outside's fleet began to move. Weapons systems powered up. The attack was beginning. The silent drift activated defenses that no one had known existed. But instead of weapons firing, a massive energy field expanded outward. It passed through every ship in the area, council vessels, human warships, merchant ships. Wherever it touched, engines stopped, weapons powered down, systems went offline. Every ship in the area was disabled. And then the ancestor's voice spoke to every being in every vessel directly into their minds. You will listen now and then you will choose. The entire fleet fell silent, helpless, waiting to hear what the last progenitor had to say. The ancestor's message reached every ship, every station, every world within transmission range. Thousands of beings heard its voice in their minds, clear as their own thoughts. I am the last survivor of a civilization that once ruled this galaxy, the ancestor began. We called ourselves the progenitors, though that name has become legend to you. We built wonders beyond your imagination. We controlled energy from stars. We cured death itself. We turned lifeless rocks into paradise worlds. Images flowed with the words. Visions of ancient cities floating in space, ships larger than moons, gardens growing on asteroids, technology that bent the laws of nature. And then we destroyed ourselves. Not through accident, not through outside attack. We destroyed ourselves because we could not share. The images changed. Now they showed war. Weapons that could shatter planets. Fleets of millions of ships tearing each other apart. Civilizations that had lasted for millions of years burning in moments. Every faction believed they alone deserved to control our gifts. There was no one left to be right. The message paused. In every ship, beings of different species sat in silence, seeing their own conflicts reflected in the progenitor story. Before we died, we scattered our genetic code across young worlds, hoping our children would learn from our mistakes. Humanity is the only one of those children to survive and reach the stars. They carry our DNA, our potential, our hope. High Arbiter, trapped on his disabled ship, sent an angry thought into the mental link. So, humans are superior. They should rule. No, the ancestor replied. Inheritance is not about blood. It is about choice. I have looked into the heart of a human named Sunday. I asked him what he wanted. He could have claimed my gifts for humanity alone. He could have made his species the most powerful in the galaxy. Instead, he chose to share everything with everyone. Another pause. The weight of those words settled over the fleet. That is why I am giving the technology to all of you. Not because humans are better, because a human made the better choice. And if one being can choose peace over power, perhaps others can too. The silent drift began to transmit. Streams of data flowed outward. Blueprints, formulas, instructions. The templates for progenitor technology poured into every ship's computer system. Clean energy designs that could end pollution in every world. Medical advances that could extend life and cure ancient diseases. Terraforming methods that could turn dead planets into new homes. Everything the progenitors had created over millions of years given freely to all species. On his disabled ship watched the data filling his screens, his scales shifted from dark green to pale gray, a sign of fear among. This is madness, he broadcast. If everyone has this technology, there will be chaos, wars over implementation, conflict over patents and ownership. There will be challenges, the ancestor agreed. Change is never easy, but the alternative is what I showed you. One faction controlling the gifts, others fighting to take them, everyone dying in the end. A younger officer spoke up, his thoughts joining the mental link. High Arbiter, perhaps we should listen. The progenitor is offering us a chance. Do we really want to repeat their mistakes? Similar voices rose from other ships. Traders calculating the economic possibilities. Scientists of various species are already studying the incoming data. Soldiers questioned whether this was worth dying over. Felt his authority slipping away. He made one final attempt. The humans tricked you somehow. They programmed you to say these things. This is a human plot to weaken the council. The admiral's voice came through calm and steady. Arbiter, we didn't even know this ship existed until 3 days ago. We have no programming skills that could manipulate a 40,000-year-old AI. You're looking for enemies where there are none. The ancestor released the energy field. Engines across the fleet slowly came back online. Weapon systems remained disabled for now, but ships could move again. I have given you everything I have, the ancestor said. What you do with it is your choice. I hope you will be wiser than my people were. I hope you will prove that intelligence does not always lead to self-destruction. One by one, the council ships began to withdraw. Not in defeat, but in confusion. They needed time to process what had happened, to study the data, to decide how to respond. Was the last to leave. Before his ship jumped faster than light travel, he sent one final message to Sunday. This isn't over, human. The council will remember what you did here. Sun replied with a simple thought. We gave you gifts worth more than any empire. If you see that as an attack, that says more about you than us. The fleet vanished into the stars. 6 months later, the galaxy had changed. The technology was spreading. Not evenly. Some species adapted faster than others. There were arguments and negotiations and occasional small conflicts, but nothing like the war had tried to start. The silent drift still flew through space, but it was different now. It served as a neutral meeting place where species could discuss how to implement progenitor technology, sung and had become something they never expected. Ambassadors, the ancestor remained with them, learning about the modern galaxy through their eyes. It was fascinated by everything from human music to trade routes to art. After 40,000 years of sleep, every new experience was a wonder. One day, a transmission came through from Rust Haven. Counselor's insect face appeared on screen, looking uncomfortable. Human sung, he said.